Hello students, I am Pawan Kumar Singh from Shri Jyoti Educational Group. Today we will start chapter number 4 of physics, that is motion in a plane. Now continue. In this chapter we will cover the following points: introduction, scalars and vectors, multiplication of vectors by real numbers, addition and subtraction of vectors by graphical method, resolution of vectors, vector addition by analytical method, motion in a plane, then motion in a plane with constant acceleration, then relative velocity in two dimensions, projectile motion, and last uniform circular motion. Introduction. Motion in a plane is called as motion in the 2D. Examples are projectile motion, circular motion, etc. In order to describe the motion of an object in 2D or in 3D, we need to use the vector to describe the above mentioned physical quantities. Therefore, it is first necessary to learn the language of vectors. As in simple case of motion in a plane, we shall discuss the motion with the constant acceleration and treat in detail the projectile motion and circular motion. Scalars and vectors. Scalar quantities. The physical quantities which are completely specified by their magnitude or size alone are called scalar quantities. The examples are length, mass, speed, work, etc. And the vector quantity. The vector quantities are those whose physical quantities which are characterized by the both magnitude and direction. The examples of the vector quantity: velocity, displacement, acceleration, force, etc. Now come to the characteristics of the vector quantity, because vector is the important one for us. So continue the characteristic of the vector quantity. There are following characteristic of the vector quantity. First, these possess both the magnitude as well as the direction. These do not obey the ordinary laws of algebra. Basically, we use the vector algebra in this case. These are represented by the arrow or bold phase letter. These change if either magnitude or the direction or both the changes. In vector, we will use some terms like unit vector, equal vector, zero vector, etc. Now come to these terms in detail. Unit vector. A unit vector is a vector of magnitude is 1, or you can say unit magnitude, and points in a particular direction. It is used to specify the direction only. Unit vector is represented by putting cap over the quantity. The unit vector in the direction of a vector is denoted by a cap and defined by a cap equals to a vector upon mod of a. That is, a vector equals to a into a of cap. Now come to the equal vectors. Equal vectors are those vectors, suppose we have two vectors, a vector and b vector, and uh, suppose these are two equal vector, then these are equal vector only when the magnitude of a vector equals to the magnitude of b vector and their direction are also same. Now come to the zero vector. A vector with zero magnitude and an arbitrary direction is called a zero vector. It is represented by 0 and put arrow on the 0. It is also denoted by, or it is also known as the null vector. Now come to the negative vector. The vector whose magnitude is same as that of a vector, but the direction is opposite to that of a vector. It is direction is opposite, it means its direction is negative of the a vector, and it is represented or it is written as minus of a vector. As you can see in the diagram, the direction of a vector is towards right but the direction of minus a vector is towards left. Now parallel vectors. If a vector and b vector are said to be parallel vector, then they have the same direction and may or may not be the equal magnitude. It is not compulsory that magnitude should be equal, but the direction must be same. Then that type of vectors are known as parallel vectors. If the direction are opposite, then a vector and b vector are anti-parallel vector. Next one is the coplanar vectors. Vectors are said to be coplanar if they lie in the same plane or they are parallel to the same plane. Otherwise, they are said to be non-coplanar vectors. Next one, displacement vector. The displacement vector is a vector which gives the position of a point with reference to a point other than the origin of the coordinate system. The displacement vector are denoted by r12 or rxy or r34. Suppose we are taking the displacement vector r12, that will be equals to vector r2 minus vector r1. Multiplication of vectors by a real numbers. Suppose multiplication of vectors by a real number means that maybe the scalar quantity, is very easy concept. In general, if we are multiplying any vector that is denoted by a by n is a scalar quantity, or you can say that is a real number, then the resultant vector that is denoted by b is also a vector quantity, that is b equals to n into a. Now this is n into a is not the scalar quantity, which is the different from the scalar product. Okay, now let us say that we have a vector a and we want to multiply it by a real number, say 10. The resultant would be the vector b, and that would be written as b equals to 10 dot a, yeah, 10 into a. If a vector is equals to 5 I cap minus j cap plus 3 k cap, okay, I cap, j cap, k cap, these type of things we will discuss in our next topic, that is the resolution of vectors. So no need to worry about this one. We will definitely discuss these points in our further slides. So if a vector equals to 5 I cap minus j cap plus 3 k cap, then b equals to 10 into 5 I cap minus j cap plus 3 k cap, that is equals to 50 I cap minus 10 j cap plus 30 k cap. Addition and subtraction of vectors by graphical method. The graphical method of vector addition and subtraction we can discuss in such a way that, recall that the vector is a quantity that has a magnitude and direction. For example, displacement, velocity, acceleration and force are all are the vector quantity. In 1D or a straight line motion, the direction of a vector can be given as simply by the plus or minus sign. So we have in the given diagram there are two vectors, a vector and b vector. Now the graphical method of adding vectors a and b involve drawing the vectors on a graph and adding them using the head to tail method. And the graphical method of subtracting vector b from a involves adding the opposite of vector v, which is defined as minus b vector. Now the addition of vector is a commutative such that a plus b equals to b plus a. Now come to the diagram. There are two vectors, a vector and b vector, and we want to find out the resultant of these two vectors, that is denoted by the r vector, which must be equal to a vector plus b vector. What we will do, we will place the tail of b vector on the head of a vector as shown in the diagram b and join OQ. that OQ will be the resultant of these two vectors, that is A vector plus B vector. Now, one more thing we can do. We can place A vector on the head of B vector to find out the resultant of these two vectors as shown in the diagram C, that is R vector equals to B vector plus A vector. These both methods give the same result. Okay. Now suppose we want to the subtraction of two vectors in place of the addition. Suppose we have two vectors A vector and B vector, and we want to find out A vector minus B vector. Then first of all we have to convert, or we have to uh, change the direction of B vector as minus sign, or you can say we have to reverse the direction of B vectors so that it give the minus B vector. Now what we will do, we will take A vector plus of minus B vector and apply the same method, that is head to tail method. Okay, we will take A vector and put the tail of minus B vector on the head of A vector and join the tail of A vector to the head of minus B vector. This line represent the resultant, or you can say this line will represent the A vector minus B vector. This is the subtraction method. Vector addition. Basically, this topic is also known as by the composition of vectors. The resultant of two or more vectors is that single vector which produces the same effect as the individual vectors together would produce. The process of adding two or more vectors is called composition of vector or vector addition. There are three types of method which we will discuss in vector addition. First, parallelogram law of vector addition. Second, triangle law of vector addition. And third one, polygon law of vector addition. Okay, in which we will discuss the adding of two or more than two vectors. Now, come to the parallelogram law of vector addition. If two vectors can be represented both in magnitude and direction by the two adjacent sides of a parallelogram drawn from a common point, then their resultant is completely represented both in magnitude and direction by the diagonal of the parallelogram drawn from that point. You can see in diagram B, in which resultant vector is denoted by the diagonal, that is OS, and this would be equal to R vector equals to A vector plus B vector. Now come to the triangle law of vector addition. If two vectors can be represented both in magnitude and direction by the two sides of a triangle taken in same order, then their resultant is represented completely both in magnitude and direction by the third side of the triangle taken in the opposite order. You can see in the figure C, in which OP is vector A, PS is vector B, and the resultant is the third side of this triangle, that is OS, which is vector R. In both the method, either we will talk about the parallelogram law of vector addition or triangle law of vector addition, the resultant will be same. The method is different, but the answer will be same. The resultant will be equals to R vector, that is equals to A vector plus B vector. Next one, polygon law of vector addition. Now, if a number of vectors are represented both in magnitude and direction by the sides of an open polygon taken in the same order, then Their resultant is represented both in magnitude and direction by the closing side of the polygon taken in the opposite order. You can see the diagram. In this diagram, OA is vector P, AB is vector Q, and the resultant of OA and AB is vector P plus vector Q. There are basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, and each side represents a unique vector, has specific magnitude and the direction. The vectors are P vector, Q vector, R vector, S vector, and T vector. And the resultant of this vector, which is represented by OE, that is R vector, will be equal to P vector plus Q vector plus R vector plus S vector plus T vector. This is the polygon law of vector addition. Properties of vector addition. There are some properties of vector addition. First one, it obeys the commutative law. As we already know, in commutative law, a plus b equals to b plus a. So for vector, if a vector and b vector are any two vectors, then a vector plus b vector, that equals to the b vector plus a vector. Second property, it obeys the associative law. If a vector, b vector, and c vector are any three vectors, then a vector plus b vector plus c vector in bracket must be equal to a vector plus b vector in bracket plus c vector. Next one, it obeys the distributive property. If a vector and b vector are two vectors and lambda is any real number, then lambda of a vector plus b vector equals to lambda of a vector plus lambda of b vector. Now, equilibriant vector is a vector which balances two or more than two vectors acting simultaneously at a point. It is equal in magnitude and opposite in direction to the resultant vector of given vectors. So, equilibriant vector, that is r vector, that is equals to minus r vector when the resultant is also of minus sign, means minus of a vector plus b vector plus up to so on. If vector a is multiplied by a real number lambda, then it gives a vector b whose magnitude is lambda times the magnitude of the vector a, and whose direction is the same or opposite depending upon the whether lambda is positive or negative. Subtraction of vectors can be defined in terms of addition of two vectors. If p vector and q vector are two vectors are to be subtracted, then we take them as follow: p vector minus q vector equals to p vector plus of minus q vector. Now vector subtraction is non-commutative and non-associative. It means a vector minus b vector is not equal to b vector minus a vector. Similarly, a vector minus bracket start b vector minus c vector bracket close is not equal to a vector minus b vector in bracket minus of c vector. These are the properties of vector addition. Resolution of vectors. It is a process of splitting a single vector into two or more vectors in different directions, which together produce the same effect as is produced by the single vector alone. It means the vector into which the given single vector is splitted are called component of vectors. In fact, the resolution of a vector is just opposite to the composition of vector. If a vector A makes an angle theta with x-axis, then magnitude of its rectangular component in xy plane are given by ax equals to a cos theta and ay equals to a sin theta, where a equals to under root of a square x plus a square y. To understand this point, you can take the help of this diagram. Okay, see the diagram carefully. Now see the diagram D. If a vector A vector lies in free space and subtends an angle alpha with x-axis, angle beta with y-axis, and angle gamma with z-axis, then the magnitude of its rectangular component along the three axes are given as Ax equal to A cos alpha, Ay equals to A cos beta, and Az equals to A cos gamma, where the resultant, that is A, will be equals to under root of A square x plus B square y plus C square z. Here B and C are the components of vector along the direction of y and z, or you can say By is Ay and Cz equal to Az. Now if vector A may be expressed in terms of rectangular component, that is A vector equals to Ax I cap plus Ay j cap and Az k cap, where I cap, j cap and k cap are the unit vector along the x, y and z axis respectively. It means the angle between I cap and j cap is 90°, j cap and k cap is also 90°, and angle between I cap and k cap is also 90°. Now if the components of the given vector are perpendicular to each other, then they are called the rectangular components. Vector addition by analytical method. Although the graphical method of adding vectors helps us in visualizing the vector and the resultant vector, it is sometimes tedious and has limited accuracy. It is much easier to add vectors by combining their respective components. Now consider two vectors, A vector and B vector, in xy plane. If we are taking xyz plane, then there will be three components. Right now if we are considering only xy plane, then the components of A vector and B vector are ax, ay and bx, by respectively. And if we take xyz plane, then the components of A vector and B vector are ax, ay, az and bx, by, bz respectively. Now come to the 2D description of analytical method. First of all, you can see a table here. There are three columns. First column represents the vectors, second one is the sum of vector, third one is the subtraction of the vectors. Now come to the 2D description of the analytical method. Consider a vector A, which is ax I cap and ay j cap, and B, that is bx I cap plus by j cap. Now the sum of vectors are r equals to a plus b, or you can say r equals to rx I cap plus ry j cap, where rx equal to ax plus bx and ry equals to ay plus by. Now similarly, subtraction of two vectors, r equals to a minus b, where r equals to rx I cap plus ry j cap. Now rx equal to ax minus bx and ry equals to ay minus by. Now this is the description of 2D. Now come to the 3D. If the vector are A equals to ax I k plus ay j k plus az k k, and B vectors is bx I k plus by z k plus bz k k, then addition of vector or sum of vector, that is r equals to a plus b, will be r equal to rx I cap plus ry j cap plus rj k cap, where rx equal to ax plus bx and ry equal to ay plus by and rz equal to az plus bz. Similarly, if we are going to subtract these vectors, that is r equals to a minus b, then r equal to rx ik plus ry jk plus rz k cap, where rx equal to ax minus bx, ry equal to ay minus by, and rz equal to az minus bz. Basically, this method is very helpful to solve the numericals. Okay. This is the first part of this chapter. In next video, I will provide you the second part of this chapter. So till then, try to solve the exercise question which is based on these topics which we have already discussed. Okay. Now, thank you. Suppose if we have question that find out the magnitude and direction of the resultant of two vectors a and b in terms of their magnitude and angle theta between them. It means this is a question of the derivation of law of cosines and law of sine. So now go to the derivation of law of cosine, that what is the law of cosine and what is the resultant of law of cosine. Basically, law of cosine gives the resultant of two vector in terms of cos of theta. Now, uh, in this diagram, let OP and OQ represent the two vectors A and B which make an angle theta. Then using the parallelogram method of vector of addition, OS represent the resultant vector R, that is R equals to A plus B. Now SN is normal to OP and PM is normal to OS. From the geometry of the figure, OS square equals to ON square plus SN square. You have already know about this one. This is the Pythagoras theorem. But ON equal to OP plus PN. Now OP equals to A and PN equals to B cos theta, so that ON equals to A plus B cos theta. Now Sn equals to B sin theta. See the diagram carefully. Sn equals to B sin theta. So OS square, again go to the Pythagoras. OS square equals to ON square plus Sn square. So OS square equals to A plus B cos theta whole square plus B sin theta square. Now OS is the resultant which can be represented by R. So R square equals to A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. So R equals to under root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. Now this equation is known as law of cosine. It means if question comes that derive or explain the law of cosine, then we have to derive this formula. Now next one, law of sine. In triangle OSN, Sn equal to OS sin alpha and that is equals to R sin alpha. In triangle PSN, Sn equals to PS sin theta, that is equal to B sin theta. Therefore, R sin alpha equal to B sin theta, or R upon sin theta equals to B upon sin alpha. Similarly, Pm equal to A sin alpha, that is equals to B sin beta. So A upon sin beta equal to B upon sin alpha. Now combine these two equations. We get R upon sin theta equals to A upon sin beta equals to B upon sin alpha. Now we already know the result, but sin alpha equals to B upon R sin theta. Now where R is the resultant which we have already derived in the previous slide. So by using the equation r equals to under root of a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta, and sin alpha equals to b upon r sin theta. We get tan alpha, or you can directly find out the tan alpha, no need to use the other equation. That is tan alpha equal to Sn upon OP plus Pn, that is b sin theta upon a plus b cos theta. Okay, the equation r upon sin theta equals to a upon sin beta equals to b upon sin alpha. This equation is known as law of sine, because in this equation we have used the sine term. Okay, or we can say we have used the ratio, that is the sine ratio. This is the first part of this chapter. In next video, I will provide you the second part of this chapter. So till then, try to solve the exercise question which is based on these topics which we have already discussed. Okay, now thank you.